Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Emily. I make videos about books on Tuesdays and about beauty on Saturdays. Today we are going to be doing the rapid fire 50 question book tag. I'm not sure who started it. I saw it when my favorite booktuber Emily Fox did it. I will link her video down below and I will also see if I can find out who started this tag. So we're just going to go ahead and get into it.
Honey?
I'm sorry if you can hear some background noise. My neighbor, I think, is working on his yard, and every time I stop and wait for him to be done, he just starts back up again. So we're just going to power through it. All right, the first question is hardback or paperback? Paperback, for sure. I love hardbacks, and I own a lot of hardbacks, but there's nothing better than cracking open a paperback, if you can, like an old secondhand one too, if you can like fold it in half. Love it. Number 2, dust jacket on or off? Off, definitely. I have no idea how people read with the dust jacket on. It bothers me like crazy, and I always take it off. Number 3, secondhand or new copies? Secondhand. I love secondhand books. It's so awesome to think about where it's been, what kind of story it might have besides the story that's just written in it, and it's better for the environment. 4, audiobooks or nah? Audiobooks for sure. I like physical books too. I like ebooks, I like paper books, and I love audiobooks, especially if it's a genre that I don't usually listen to. Audiobooks help me pay more attention. If it's a longer book, I usually go for an audiobook, or if it's just something I want to listen to in the shower or while I'm walking, audiobooks help me read so many more books than I would otherwise be able to. Number 5, do you cover buy? Sometimes, but not always. I would never cover buy if I'm shopping online or getting like a book for my Kindle or something like that. But if I am at the library or at a used bookstore, I definitely grab interesting covers. If the story itself doesn't sound interesting to me, then I'm not going to keep it. But if it is an interesting cover and the premise sounds interesting, I will absolutely take it home with me. Number 6, what is a good book with a bad cover? All right, so this cover isn't necessarily bad. I just don't think that it fully shows how amazing this book is. So that is A Swiftly Tilting Planet by Madeleine L'Engle, and I know there's lots of different versions with lots of different covers, but I've never seen one that really captures how this book makes me feel. And if I saw this cover and I didn't know what this book was about and that I would love it, I don't think I would even grab this book. I don't think the cover doesn't justify the story. Number 7 is the opposite of that. What is a bad book with a good cover? And for that one, I have to go with Nothing to See Here. This is not necessarily a bad book, but it's one that I really did not like. But look at this amazing cover. Like, this looks so cool, and the premise sounded really interesting, and it's not very long, but man, this book took me so long to read, and I really did not enjoy it. All right, number 8 is what is the first book you ever read? So this one's hard, and I honestly don't remember. My parents read to me from like before I could even remember, and I don't know what the first book I read on my own was. I did the thing when I was a kid that a lot of kids do, where I would have my dad read me the same story over and over and over again, and then I would kind of memorize it, and then I'd pretend to read when I was really just like, I'd memorized all the words. So I'm not really sure, but one book from my early childhood that I remember is one I would read with my grandma and grandpa called Is There an Elephant in Your Kitchen? Super goofy book. I've tried to find like a copy of it, but it's way long out of print, but I'll put up a picture here. Really adorable story. Number 9, the last book you finished, and that is Home Before Dark by one of my favorite authors, Riley Sager. Number 10, last series you finished. I don't really read series very much anymore, but the last series I finished was in the fall and winter of 2019. I reread the Percy Jackson series. Number 11, the last book you bought. I bought The Prophet of Yonwood by Jeannie Duprat on my Kindle because I reread The City of Ember, and I really wanted to read the prequel because I remember liking it, so I bought that one for my Kindle. Number 12, what is your favorite genre? And that, if you know me, you know it's thrillers. Number 13, what's your favorite book in that genre? So this is really hard and it changes from minute to minute, and if you ask me tomorrow, the answer might not be the same, but it's probably The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, and I would show it to you, but I lent it to my sister because I told her it was so good she had to read it. Number 14, what genre do you never reach for? And that would definitely be nonfiction. Number 15, do you read poetry? Not as much as I would like to. I want to get back into poetry. I read a lot of it because I was an English major in college, and I studied it in high school too, like most people do, but I haven't really read any since I've been solely reading for fun. But I would really love to get a good book of poetry and really break it down. In high school, we had this we did a big unit of study on John Keats, so we had these Keats journals where we would like print out or copy out the poems and then annotate them and then write notes on the other pages, and I love doing this, and I feel like I grasped the poems so much better with that method, and I would love to find another book of poems and really start breaking them down and looking at them like that, because I think that I've steered away from poetry because it, you know, if you don't read it critically, at least for me, if I don't read poetry critically and really analyze it, then I don't get a lot out of it. But if you have a recommendation for a great book of poetry that I should pick up, please leave it in the comments down below, because I would love to read some more poetry. Number 16, do you read popular science? No. Number 17, do you read middle grade? Yes, I read so much middle grade. I'm a 4th grade teacher, so you know, it's part of my job, but I also absolutely would be reading middle grade whether it was relevant to my job or not. I think some of the best books ever are written for a middle grade audience, and I just really love middle grade fiction. Number 18, do you have BookBox subscriptions? Yes, so I used to subscribe to Book of the Month, but I no longer do for some reasons that I detailed on my Instagram, but basically I was super unhappy with the way they responded to a few Black book influencers who were calling them out during the whole Black Lives Matter when that was really coming to a head. I didn't think they responded very well, and I wanted to make sure I was supporting companies with my money that were doing the right thing, and I no longer choose to support that company. But now I subscribe to a couple of other book boxes that I haven't been subscribed to for long enough to really give a strong opinion, but I subscribe to Jumbo Books, their middle grade box, and I also subscribe to an indigenous fiction box called Raven Reads. So I will link their websites down below, and once I've done that for a little while, I might do like a review on them. Number 19 is, what's your favorite bookish item? So I don't really have a lot of items that would be considered bookish. I don't know, so like maybe my Kindle, because it's not a book, but it's a bookish item. Oh, sure, my Kindle. Number 20, what's your current bookmark? So really, I'm only reading my Kindle book right now, so my current bookmark is the bookmark button on the Kindle, but the bookmark I last used for a physical bookmark is this cute, nice, high quality paper bookmark from Bookleaf, Used Books, which is one of my favorite used bookshops. They are based on Instagram. I love them. I will link them down below. I've made several orders from them. Amazing customer service, great quality books, highly recommend. Number 21, what is the strangest object you've used as a bookmark? What have I not used as a bookmark? I've used all kinds of crazy stuff, like hair ties. Everybody uses receipts, like a tissue, you know, like a paper straw, like anything. But probably the weirdest thing might be like another book. I've definitely like slid, if I finish a book and didn't have a bookmark in it for some reason, and then I have another book and I just like slide the book in the book and use that as a bookmark. But I don't know, what have you used as a bookmark that's weird? Number 22, book jacket or nah? Didn't we already answer this? I take them off when I read, but I don't mind if books have them. Number 23, who is your fictional boyfriend? I don't really like feel that way about any characters, at least at my age, but when I originally read the Divergent series in high school, I had the biggest crush on 4. But you know, like, I was always into those fictional angsty boys. Like, my other big crush was War and Peace from Sky High, like, but not these days. Number 24, your favorite book couple. So I don't read a lot of books with couples in them. I don't read a lot of romance, and most of the books that I read, especially like thrillers, if there is a couple, they're pretty dysfunctional. But I would have to say Calvin and Meg from A Wrinkle in Time, that whole series, and subsequent, you know, Madeline L'Engle's world of books. I love Calvin and Meg. They're very sweet together. Your favorite book villain. So this one is hard because a lot of my favorite villains are because it's like a huge plot twist, so I can't always like tell you without spoiling the whole book. But I think I really like Ender's Game, and it's part of the reason I like that is because there's not like one big bad villain, and who you see as the villain kind of changes throughout the story, and that's a book that really makes you think, and especially if you're trying to think about who the villain is, that really makes you think. So definitely the various perspectives on villains in Ender's Game. Number 26, your favorite book adventure, and that is definitely Watership Down. Classic adventure story, traveling, stopping in different towns, but all the main characters are rabbits. Number 27, series, trilogy, or standalone. Definitely standalone. Number 28, mixed media or paragraphs. Usually paragraphs. 29, what is your favorite book adaptation? I think the Sharp Objects TV show they did on HBO. Number 30, film or television adaptation. I think either one, as long as it is done well and not necessarily 100% faithful to the book, but at least faithful to the spirit of the book, if that makes sense. Number 31, what book needs an adaptation? So, a couple months ago, I would have said Percy Jackson because I don't recognize those movies as being adaptations of the book because they were so bad. But since Rick Riordan has announced that they are doing a TV series adaptation, we're happy with that. So if I can't say Percy Jackson because it's already happening, I have to say, where did I put it? No Exit by Taylor Adams. I loved this book. This is one of those books that read like a movie, and so I could imagine how awesome that movie would be like as I was reading it. It was so easy to visualize. It's action-packed. I think this would make an incredible movie. Number 32, your favorite book world. I think that would again have to be Watership Down. The world building in this book is amazing. Number 33, your favorite writing style. So I don't necessarily have like a favorite style, but I do always gravitate toward books that are written from multiple perspectives, like of multiple different characters, or told through multiple different timelines. So I like a book that's not all one writing style the whole way through, but is kind of a mix. Number 34, what is a book that you love that people don't know about? All right, so I feel like there's a few of these, but the first one that jumped to mind was How to Disappear Completely and Never Be Found. This is one that I 100% cover bought, and I got it for 75 cents at the used bookstore near my house, and it is not like instructions on how to disappear, right? Like, just so you know, but it's like, I have a hard time even explaining it, but the main character is kind of, learning about his past, like his mysterious father's history. There's like a creepy old house involved. There's comic books involved. There's like a boy who thinks he's turning into a rat. It's amazing. I have never in my entire life heard of anyone who has read this book, but please find a copy and read this book so we can talk about it because I think it's amazing. Number 35, what's a popular book that you hated? So there are very few books that I hate or have really ever hated. And most of them have been ones I took a chance on and then, they weren't very good, but they weren't popular. But I think the way I have to answer this question is Twilight. So I don't hate Twilight. I think the books were fine. I think the movies are funny to rewatch. But I remember, I really should not have fallen for this, but I remember they came out in middle school and a bunch of people I knew who were like too cool for reading, they hated books, whatever, like it was cool to hate reading now, started reading Twilight and being obsessed with them. And since they were such giant books and people who hated reading were reading these huge books, I was like, they must be great. They weren't for me. It was not my thing. Like I said before, romance, not really for me. If we're talking about writing styles that I don't like, Stephanie Meyer would be one of them. So yeah, sorry, Twilight. Number 36, favorite childhood reads. So this is supposed to be rapid fire questions, not like wax poetic all day questions, but I have so many favorite childhood reads. I would include anything by Madeline L'Engle. The City of Ember is a huge one, The Green Glass Sea, basically a lot of the books that I read over on my second channel for my students, but I don't know, I've got so many. Harry Potter, of course, Percy Jackson, like maybe sometime I'll make a video about some of my favorite books from childhood, but there are so many, it's hard to pare them down. The Secret of Platform 13, I love. It's so many, I could go on all day. Number 37, what's a book that changed your life? So for this one, I actually am gonna link a video down below that I made last week about books that changed my life. So go ahead and watch that because I think there's 10 of them on there. Number 38, what book did you hate in school? The Call of the Wild. Oh my gosh, I could not stand that book. Number 39, do you buy to collect? No, not really. Number 40, do you donate books? Yes, but not as often as I should. I tend to just kind of like stack them up and hoard them on my shelf, but I do lend books out to friends and especially to my sisters. And if I lend a book to my sister, it's essentially donated because she's probably not going to give it back to me unless I go in her room and take it. Number 41, what's your favorite reading snack? Basically anything salty and crunchy, especially Cheez-Its and especially white cheddar Cheez-Its. that's just like my favorite snack in general. Number 42, what's your favorite reading position? I don't know, I feel like I kind of like move around and roll around, but I almost always start kind of like crisscross applesauce. That's how I usually sit most of the time to do anything. But then my hips start to hurt, so I'll like put my legs out, and then maybe I'll like roll over. I don't know, I don't sit still when I read. Does anybody sit still when they read? Number 43, natural light or lamp light? All of the above. You might be able to tell I've got a lamp on in the background, I've got like my ceiling light on, I've got a window open. I like a nice bright room, and I usually turn on every source of light available. Number 44, outside or inside? Usually inside. I love to read outside, but it's got to be the perfect like situation. I'm afraid of bugs, so if a bug lands on me, it's gonna kind of, unless it's like a bumblebee or a ladybug or a butterfly or like a, you know, like a nice bug. But if like a wasp comes near me, we're done. Like no more reading outside for a week after that. Number 45, breaking the spine or keeping it smooth? It depends. I don't know. Not on a hardcover book, I always keep the spine smooth, but a paperback, especially like, you know, like one that's already kind of beat up and used, man, I love the feeling of cracking that spine, especially like a chunky little paperback book like this. I feel like I always break the spine, so I guess it kind of depends. Number 46, do you read in other languages? No. Number 47, what book series do you want to finish this year? I haven't started any book series yet this year, so I don't know if there's any that I would want to finish, but I really want to start the, now I can't even remember what it's called, but like the first follow-up series to Percy Jackson. I really want to read those. Number 48, what book release are you most excited for right now? So if you had asked me like a couple weeks ago, I would have said Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, but since I read that and really enjoyed it, that one's off the list. But I want to read Alex North's new book, The Shadows, because I love The Whisper Man so much. But I think the one that I'm most excited for is called The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. It comes out in October. I listened to the audiobook and read the Twisted Ones by her, and it was mind-blowingly amazing. I think I'm realizing that even though I don't like scary movies, I really like scary books. So I am so excited to read the Hollow ones, and it's going to be perfect and for spooky October. I cannot wait. All right, we're almost done. Number 49, do you have a favorite book influencer? So I mentioned at the beginning I got the idea for this video from my favorite booktuber, who is Emily Fox. She is wonderful. Not only does she share the same name as me, she's also French Canadian like my grandpa, and she's just wonderful. I love her videos. She's so funny, and I really, even though I don't always agree with her book opinions, I love hearing them. On Instagram, I also have my friend Lane, who I know from high school, has a bookstagram, and it is JLM Bookstagram. I love keeping up with her on there because she posts really thoughtful reviews. She posts great stories about, you know, like what book she's reading and everything. So I love her bookstagram. And then also one of my blogging friends, Kayla Rivoli, she is wonderful, and she posts all kinds of stuff on her Instagram, but I love her reading content as well. She reads very different, all three of those people that I just named read very different things, but I enjoy keeping up with lots of different genres through everybody, but through especially those three people. All right, and the last question, number 50, is do you have a channel? Yes, here we are. I also have my second channel where I read some of my favorite books from when I was a kid out loud. That one's for my students, but you are welcome to check it out if you want. It's always linked down below. So do you have a channel, blog, or social media feed? Yes, yes, yes. I've got a blog, also always linked down below. I'm still kind of in the process of revamping it. I used to blog a lot about productivity and college stuff, but since I am no longer in college, it's kind of, you know, I just haven't posted as much on there, but I've been posting a lot of reading and book content on there, so you know, check that out. And then my social media is always linked down below. I post all my book reviews on Goodreads and on my Instagram stories. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was fun for you. It was definitely fun for me to think through all these questions and answer them. I would love to hear your opinions. If you, I'll post the questions in the comments, or I mean in the description box below. So if you have a channel and you want to make this video, please do. And if you don't have a channel but you want to answer some of these questions, I would love for you to put your answers in the comments down below. So thank you so much. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. All right, bye guys.